Do it.
I did it. I done did it. I did it.
Uh-oh.
I pushed
What
that.
did you
I
do?
pushed that click to start streaming button. Hi, I'm here.
Uh-oh.
No.
I'm here with Joe and
Hey.
Mike. This
Hi.
is On the Stick After Dark, where we play some video games and talk about video games.
Talk about some video games.
I don't know, a bunch of good video games have come out or were put on sale in the last couple of weeks here.
Yeah, man.
Hades being one of them. This is Hades. It's the new Supergiant game. It was put on early access back in
It's been a little while,
December or
a couple months.
January.
I was gonna say, it was
after
very-
the
it
Epic
was like
Store
this-
launched. It was right around that time. So
Because it was like, this exists, and you can buy the early access right now.
right.
That was how this went.
It was $20. It's Epic is having their weird sale right now where everything is just like straight up $10 off.
Epic's non-consensual sale where
Right.
they're giving discounts to people whether developers want them to or not.
Right.
Aren't the developers getting the same
Yes.
share? They like, isn't Epic eating
I
the
paid
cost?
$10
They are.
for the game, and then Epic gives Supergiant the other
10 more.
$10 or
Yeah.
probably.
But some
like-
developers are still not cool with that because,
Yeah.
like, if they have a new title, I think they want to kind of keep that perceived value of having it at full price for a while.
Yeah.
No. So those include pre-order games because John Wick Hex
Yep.
is on the Epic
See,
Store.
It does. I picked up the
$8.
Subnautica expansion.
Okay.
Pretty much anything on the Epic Store, they will just give you $10 off.
Sweet. That sounds good.
And yeah,
Alex is here.
that John Hex game.
Hi.
John Hex. The fucking-
Jonah Hex?
Jesus Christ.
This is not Jonah
John
Hex
Wick
game.
game is on sale for like $17.99, and then it's further discounted, so you can get it for $8 basically.
So that is it going to be a tactical action, like a strategy game,
It
turn-based
seems-
strategy game?
It seems kind of similar to it's not 2D, but it seems kind of similar to what was that Devolver game that was like almost like a turn-based side-scrolling action game.
I don't know.
I have it on Steam. Now I'm gonna have to look it up. But it seems kind of like that. Like it's a 3D sort of. It's like a combination between a traditional strategy game and an action game. Is what it seems like to me. I'm willing to try it out for $8 just because I love the shit out of John Wick. So that's kind of where I'm at. But you know.
Yeah, well, I've tried a couple things in that sale as well. I picked up Observation, which is the most recent adventure game from the people who made the Untold Stories
Oh, nice.
thingamies. But actually, I
liked
played.
that.
I played one of the Untold Stories and thought it was very good. I played about an hour of Observation, and I didn't love it. It's a very interesting idea. You play as the AI on a space station that has had an accident, and like there's an astronaut in the space station who's like giving you orders and asking you to do things, and you're kind of tasked with performing what you're asked of doing.
Mhm.
And there's kind of like a little bit of a hint of like unreliable narrator stuff happening, except that you're the unreliable element in the story. It kind of seems like.
Huh.
I didn't enjoy interacting with the game because I found the interface to be pretty clunky, and it kept crashing on me. So after about an hour of that, I decided that I would see about getting a refund for it, and I did. And I'm considering. We can talk about this in a bit.
Ronin was the game I was thinking of, by the way.
Oh, that
Ronin.
thing.
It's a side-scrolling action game ostensibly, but it actually you kind of move in turns, and I think that's kind of what the John Wick game is going to be based on what I've seen.
So I'm considering picking up Outer Wilds, which apparently everyone thinks is super great, but I'm just waiting to see what Microsoft says at their press conference because they're going to be adding a bunch of like PC games to Game Pass, and Outer Wilds and also Void Bastards are both on Xbox Game Pass, and if they bring those to PC, then I'll just play them because I have Game Pass for like another month and a half at this point.
Okay.
These games are a little chunky for some reason.
Game Pass is, I think, that's one of those things that I'm gonna sort of move in and out of.
Well, so far I've been getting it here and there when they've had sales, and
right. If there's
I've
a
gotten
sale
it
and if there's a game I want to play, that
Yeah.
seems like a good.
I've gotten it for like $1 or $2 every time that I've picked up a month of it, or I think I also have like a code that I got with a controller that I could get 2 more weeks with next time there's something I want to try. But if they start to really flesh out the lineup on the PC, then I don't know. At some point, maybe I could be convinced to sign up for a service, but well, not so far. Or rather, not at full price.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. At full price, it would have to be a sort of continuous. They'd have to illustrate a continuous stream of games I want to play.
But hey, $1 a month, I'd sign up for that for as long as you want.
You'd buy
Yeah,
that for $1?
I don't think that's a money making prospect for them, right?
No.
Kurt Adam has joined the chat.
Yeah, but like, who cares about them? This is about us.
No, I certainly don't. Yeah, so Eric, playing that Hades, which of the weapons have you been liking the most so far?
I think I'm a spear guy.
I just unlocked the spear, but I haven't tried it
I like
yet.
the spear the most. There's one more over here that I haven't seen yet. So there is a sword, which is
Got
your
like a
default
gun of some kind. Yeah.
You can do it. So so as you see, every time you die, you start in that hub area. There's Hades and a bunch of other characters from Greek myths that you can talk to, Nyx and Orpheus and Cerberus and all that good shit. And then you have this mirror in your bedroom that it lets you, like, you collect this shadow crystal stuff that you can use to upgrade your character. And then you can unlock more upgrades with keys that you also find while you're running around in the dungeon killing guys. And then,
so are they permanent upgrades? Or
Yeah, these are.
Well, they're permanent, but you can refund and then reallocate your experience points whenever you want, basically.
Right,
so,
but I mean, they're not just. It's not like this is an upgrade for the
no,
Dead Cells has like upgrades for the run,
and the purple crystal currency that you use to upgrade that stuff is like in a permanent collection. You also have all these different. There's all these different keepsakes that you can get from other characters in the game that will give you different bonuses and stuff. And then there's
you've got quite a lot of them.
and a spear, and I've been playing a ton of this game. I did 27 runs so far, according to the thing that I bought that tracks my thing. There's a cool shield that does like a real basic attack, but has like a charge dash move, and then you can also throw the shield and like it'll bounce
Captain America.
enemies. It's pretty dope. There's a bow that I don't really like very much.
Oh, I like the bow. The bow is my favorite weapon that I've used so far.
Charge and then to really get max damage, and I don't really care for that. There's this gun, which is okay. Like, a lot of these weapons are like so-so until you get whatever bonus skills that you get. So that's like the roguelite aspect of this game, is that you're Zagreus, you're the son of Hades. And,
Persephone,
and I mean, he's like in actual Greek mythology. There's like that's like a lost character, kind of like there's stuff that points to him being a son of maybe Zeus, and
he's a DLC character in Greek mythology.
Kind of like there are some mentions of him in Hades, but it's like a lot of that stuff. I was looking that up before we started, but anyways, so every time you start a run, you come into. You're trying to. This character he's Hades' son. And he's trying to escape from the underworld. Back to so he can go and see his mother and then all the other gods on Olympus, who are his aunts and uncles or whatever. Every time you start a run, you are offered one like unique perk, and then sometimes it's like this time I got offered the Daedalus hammer, which is like a permanent upgrade, or not a permanent, but it's an upgrade for that run to just the way your weapon works. So it's like extra damage, or sometimes it's even a special move, or it will replace one of your default moves. So like this one, the exploding launcher, your special fires a projectile that deals plus 80 damage in an air. I've never seen that offered before, so I'm going to take that just so I can try it out. Oh yeah, so my spear explodes now. That seems pretty dope. Usually when you throw the spear stops, and then you can recall it for like extra damage. But this also seems all right. I don't know. We'll try it out. So then
this is multiplayer though, right? So Kurt and Mike will be able to play with you once you finish this run, or no?
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Oh, I thought that we were talking about that in the email.
Mike said that.
No, the way Mike worded the comment made me think maybe it was, but I didn't think it was, and he confirmed that it was not.
Could be. I would play a multiplayer version of this. So you get to choose your weapon. You get to sort of build your character how you want. And then as you play through the dungeons, every time you beat one of these combat challenges, you get the reward from the previous door. So often there's like a couple of doors for you to choose from. This one, the only way I can go is through this door with the coin on it. And so if I go through there, then when I beat the next challenge, I'll be offered some coins, some gold coin currency, which that is the one resource that you lose at the end of each run. And then
you spend that at shops to get like temporary buffs or get your health back. Or
Karen, the boatman, will show up, and he's like the shopkeeper, and you can buy upgrades or health upgrades or just health restoration stuff. There's also this portal here, which is you have to sacrifice some life, and then you're given like a debuff that from this god called Chaos, who's like the god that existed before all the other gods and the Titans existed and everything. But he will give you like a really powerful buff, but you have to beat 4 challenges
in like a weakened state.
In a weakened state, yeah. So sometimes it's like this one, for 3 encounters, every time I cast my little gem thing, I take -3 health, but afterwards I get 2 bullets, which is pretty good.
2 more ammo.
Yeah. Which I haven't actually showed off the casting yet, but I will. And take 3 damage. So there's like your main attack, which is like a combo maneuver. There's usually a charge attack associated with that.
What a combo maneuver!
And then there's the casting, which is these. There's like represented by these red gems, and you get 3 of them. You get 1 by default, and then you can upgrade that in your with your upgrade thing.
Yeah, don't do that though. You're hurting yourself.
That's okay. I'll be fine. I'm not too worried about
And there's also your dash, which is mostly for evasion, but there are a lot of the upgrades you can get that turn it into a form of attack.
Right. There's also
really like.
There's also one that lets it deflect enemy projectiles when you dash, which is really
good.
I really like that one a whole lot, because then it means like even if you fuck up the dodge, then you still get. Sometimes you still will just.
You'll parry or the spin or the thrust.
Deflect the projectiles back at the enemies. It gives you a little bit wider of a window. So this, every time you win a room, man, this game's run like shit for some reason. Anyways, every time after you beat a room, like I said, usually sometimes you're offered a choice of 2. Like so, in this next room, because there's a symbol of a heart, it means I will be offered a boon of Aphrodite. Which she has a really powerful cast ability that I like a whole lot, so I'm hoping maybe I'll get that with my upgrade.
Is that the one that weakens enemies?
It's like a shotgun, so instead of like the one gem, it works like a shotgun. There's also a thing that when you cast at enemies, the gem like gets stuck inside them, and then one of your upgrades is that the enemies will take more damage when they have the gem inside of them. So there's a lot of stuff to kind of manage all the time. There's a lot of different like ways to build your character.
Yeah, I like the flexibility, although I do actually find myself in practice being just a little overwhelmed by the amount of moves available. Yeah. Like I find that after playing for a couple of rooms, getting my build sorted, I'll almost always wind up just not using one of my available kind of moves, depending on how I built myself.
Yeah, I think that's intentional, honestly.
Maybe.
So every time it's possible to get a ton of different abilities from the different gods, but if you get abilities from the same god over and over again, they tend to synergize really well.
Mm-hmm.
So like Zeus can imbue your special attack or your normal attack with like chain lightning that will jump from enemy to enemy, and it's really powerful. And then he also has like a special upgrade to that, but you would only want to take the upgrade to the chain lightning damage if you have that on at least 1 or 2 attacks already.
Yeah.
So there's like a
bunch bigger lightning blasts.
So you're constantly building your character as you go, and it makes each run different. And I've just kind of I like the spear the most, but I've been just like juggling weapons each time too, just because it changes the way you play. Like each weapon plays quite a bit differently.
So I really have been enjoying the bow because, first of all, one time I got an upgrade to the bow that meant that you didn't have to charge it anymore to fire, which was really, really good. Suddenly it was just like kind of a rapid fire, long distance weapon. Mm-hmm. But I also like the bow's special ability is like a fan fire. You shoot like 6 arrows in like an arc in front of you. And I like abilities that turn that into some kind of status effect on enemies.
Yeah.
So you can use that to like poison a whole bunch of enemies or slow them down or weaken them or something like that. So I like being able to use that for crowd control and then snipe away at the bigger enemies. And I also really like the abilities that make your dash into kind of a weapon in various different ways. Either deflecting bullets, or I had one where Zeus was zapping enemies every time I dashed nearby them, and then that upgraded so that after they got zapped, next time they made an attack, they'd take a bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just kind of zip through a crowd, and you'd basically kind of curse them all to take a bunch of damage the next time they did anything. I don't know. It's pretty neat. I've only played it like just about 2 hours last night, and so far I think it's really good.
I think it's really
I think it's
good.
the most fun I've had with one of these games maybe
By
ever
Supergiant.
from the studio.
Yeah, same for me. I thought Bastion was okay, but I didn't love it. And
I like Bastion a lot.
I never played Transistor, so.
Transistor is really weird and is maybe worth checking out just because it's not like a lot of other games, which is also true for Pyre. But neither Transistor nor Pyre were games that I really loved.
Yeah.
I found them very memorable, very interesting, but like not super fun.
Yeah. So like the thing that this company always gets right is their artwork is fucking amazing. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
remember
Gen
the
Z
name.
is the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember her name, but she does incredible art. And
Yeah.
like that was kind of the thing that like Bastion, I appreciated the like technical aspect of it, but I didn't really enjoy the aesthetic that much, but the combat was also very good. So it's like that game had things in it that I appreciated even though I didn't like it that much. And this game has like the combat is kind of similar to Bastion, except you can dash a lot more, and it feels a lot faster to me than the stuff in Bastion did.
I mean, it has the Hyper Light Drifter dash more or less.
Yeah.
Especially once you can upgrade it to do 2 in a row. I would be very happy if I could eventually upgrade it more, but so far I can't. It's got a little bit of like the way that you get upgrades over the course of the game is also pretty nuclear thrown.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, because they have flavors
like
coming
Binding
from
of Isaac too, where your character starts off
Yeah.
pretty vanilla and then gets wilder and wilder the more you play.
Mm-hmm. So in this case, the exclamation mark takes you to the next area. Is that it?
The exclamation mark will take you to this special area where Sisyphus is hanging out.
Oh, it's like the store.
He'll give you.
He's just trying to
he just gives you
roll a
something.
rock
He'll
up a
give
hill.
you some gold. He'll give you some of that purple crystal stuff, or he'll give you some food that'll restore your health. It's just like a free like mini buff. And then the skull that you saw, that will take you to the store.
Oh, it's the Charon store. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
So what do I? Maybe I'll just take some gold.
Yeah, anyway, I think this is definitely worth looking into. If you think that you might have fun with it, I find it's really good, and if you can get it for $10 right now, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Do we know what the sort of like how close it is to being done?
Nope.
I expect they're probably
It's version
months away.
0.17446, if that means anything.
Like what's there is super polished. I think they're just going to add more stuff.
Yeah, like there's
as it goes on
for more weapons, and like also the other thing that kind of sets this apart from a lot of, you saw me doing it right at the very beginning of the stream was like so every time you die and then get sent back to that hub, there's like dialogue between Zagreus and all these like characters that he knows. Like Achilles is hanging out there, and he's he's like a guard for the area in Hades. And like every time you die, usually there's just like a little short, tiny bit of dialogue, and it's not a whole lot, and it's not a ton of story, but the writing is good enough that it's just enough to like motivate me to keep playing it. Like I want to see. It means that it's always kind of interesting to go back to that hub world instead of like feeling bad because you like lost your run or whatever. You get like
it's like a reward.
New, there's always a little bit of new flavor that gets added every time you die.
And there are story sequences too that happen there occasionally. Like after 5 runs, I got an actual honest to god story sequence as opposed to just running around and talking to everyone in the hub.
Yeah.
Do we
Although
know
I will say, Mike,
how...
that since I saw that, I haven't seen another one of those since. So that might be something.
Oh, really?
That's coming in
They must
updates.
probably be adding those still to the game.
So
Do we
there's
know
another,
how long
there's
a full
another
run?
big update that. No, I don't. I don't know how long a total run takes. Like it takes you maybe 15-20 minutes to get to the first boss, and then it's like maybe about that each time. But it's not.
Yeah, I've only made it to the second boss so far, so I don't know.
Yeah, I made it to the third.
How many
boss.
bosses are there?
I know. I made
Well,
it
they
to
say
the
that there are
third, but
6 bosses in the game, but I don't know if you fight all 6 or if, a lot of roguelikes, you have like at the end of the first area, it's one of 2 or 3 different bosses.
I will tell you.
So I don't know if there's.
You haven't seen it yet, but this game does do that. There's 3 different bosses you can fight in the first area.
Okay.
And it's
So
actually,
I'm assuming
like,
that
there's
there's probably,
some
like-
story involved with why that happens, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's what I find that really neat. Like the first boss that you fight is Megara, one of the Furies.
Yeah, the other bosses are the other 2 Furies.
Oh, okay.
Spoilers.
But like after you beat her a couple of times, she just shows up in the hub world because she lives there, and
Right.
she's just kind of mad at you and sulky because you've beaten her a few times.
Right. Well, she gives you shit too, because usually you lose to her like the first time you go. So there's like shit talking. There's like a relationship. It's cool. It's really fun because there's like there's other characters too that like there's like a character like where like Sisyphus here. There's another character in the 3rd level that will just like show up sometimes and hang out. There's a guy that will come out and kind of help you once in a while, but you're also like competing with him to get the most kills. So I don't know. I like Greek mythology. I think it's a really like nice aesthetic. And
Yeah, well, they've never made a game that didn't have a nice aesthetic.
true.
True.
Well, they never made a game that didn't have nice artwork.
Yes.
Which those aren't the same thing.
Those aren't
I
necessarily
suppose.
the same thing. That's true. But I tend to agree with Mike's assessment, although I haven't sunk a lot of time into all their games. Pyre was the one that was like weird Afterlife basketball, right?
Yeah, and a visual novel also.
Uh,
Again, like I didn't love that game, but I found it really memorable.
I didn't play Pyre at all, but I liked Bastion and Transistor, although Bastion more than Transistor.
Hmm.
And
it's interesting
none
that
of
they
them,
kind of,
as you say, did I love. So
yeah. It's interesting that they've kind of gone back to the gameplay of Bastion. I mean, I'm happy that they found a way to do that wasn't just to make Bastion 2.
Yeah.
Would Bastion 2 even work? I mean, I don't know.
Wow,
I
you-
liked
I mean,
Bastion
the-
a lot, so I guess.
To make a game that's just another Bastion, basically.
Yeah, get that Ambrosia.
Hell yeah, I do.
I love that you can get Ambrosia items and their only purpose in life is to like butter people up and get story stuff out of them.
Yeah.
And the charms, but
Mostly.
you only get 1 charm per person, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this game is real good.
Good. Yeah, I like it. I like it a whole lot, honestly. I think it might be. I think it has potential to be my favorite one of these kind of games. These sort of run-based, roguelite, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
So it kind of looks like Diablo, but it sounds like you're using a controller.
Oh no, it's an
Yeah,
action
this
game
is an
through
action
and through.
game. Yeah, it's not like Diablo at all.
I mean, it really does play a lot like Bastion with a bit of Hyperlight Drifter thrown in.
Okay. I was gonna say, I mean, like you said, you have the dash from Hyperlight Drifter, which is really that's weird that we're calling it that because other games had a similar dash before
Did they?
Hyperlight Drifter.
What other games?
There's not a lot of like overhead action games that did that mechanic. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I can't think of many.
That did that sort of that. Well, I guess overhead action games. I'd have to think about that
Right.
for a second. But like
that.
I mean, Cuphead has a
Right,
dash
yeah, I mean,
like
there's
that.
No, but it's not an any direction dash that you can chain together. Like, I don't know. The fact that you can do more than one really gives it that Hyperlight
Right, it'd
Drifter
be like
kind
if
of vibe.
Zelda or Secret of Mana had a dash like that or something.
Yeah.
If anything, it's closer to God of War, I guess.
Yeah,
But more
kind
fun.
of, yeah, like a third-person
Yeah.
character action game, or like
I'd say,
Bayonetta
or
or whatever. Like almost all of those games.
Yeah,
have some
Devil May
kind of-
Cry has like a triple dash if you have to time it like pretty perfectly, but it has a
Brandon, I need to spend this couple
similar mechanic. Also, by the way, well, I don't know. Are we finished sort of laying out what's going on with Hades?
Yeah.
Are we talking about
think
other
so.
stuff, or
I like it a whole
So I-
lot. It's $10. Buy it.
I
I think
concur.
I think
I
I
feel
will.
even if they just stopped making it right now, I would feel confident saying
Worth
this
$10
game
for
is
sure.
worth $10 as it is right now.
Okay,
And
cool.
assuming that we'll see what this.
I would even go
next
so far as to say
update
this is
yeah.
$15 worth of content.
Yeah, for sure.
that's a tall order, but Yeah, I'll probably grab it since you guys are all about it, and comparing it to Hyper Light Drifter is nice. I like that game quite a bit, and it looks, yeah, I mean, like I said, it looks great, so I'm into it. I'll probably buy this and John Wick before that sale ends because
Got like another 5 days or something like that.
Yeah.
It goes until next week sometime.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of games like this, Alex, I finally beat Dead Cells.
Why does Alex get that comment? I also played quite a bit.
Oh, because I was talking about Dead Cells with him the other day. But have you finished it, Joe?
I've gotten to the final. Well, so I don't know about the DLC and what that does to the final boss and final level stuff.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I've made it to the final boss, but I've never beat him.
Yeah, well, I was that way for a while, and what changed is that I made a purple build. All of a sudden,
I feel like we were talking about this last week, and you were like, "That doesn't seem interesting."
Okay, sorry, I'm playing Third Strike against my friends. So I have my mic muted because I don't want like arcade noises. Anyway, yeah, dude, I told you, purple build, man. That's like, yeah.
So I found one that I liked. I found there's a flamethrower item in the game which wasn't there before. I actually got a legendary, and I combined that with some throwing knives for bleed and one of those turrets. But it's just ridiculous how much more damage that does than when you max out brutality. But to the point where it feels like the game is unbalanced.
A little bit.
I beat the concierge and the timekeeper. I beat them both in like a third of my best time when using kind of melee weapons. And then the last boss I healed once, and even that might have just been kind of out of safety. Like I'm not sure I actually needed to.
So is the flamethrower is it a trap that you throw, or is
it's one of your main weapons. It's the fire blast, I want to say, and basically you just hold the button down and you shoot flame out of your face, and you can't move while you're doing it. And I picked up a legendary one of those early on, so I would just stack a huge amount of burn and then throw a couple daggers and stack a bunch of bleed. And
was that added in the most recent update?
It's a pretty recent weapon, I feel like.
I haven't played Dead Cells in a couple months, and I don't feel like that was there the last time I played. So.
I've been kind of coming back to it every 6 months for the last 2 years, and yeah, that one is pretty recent to me. Anyway, so it was cool, but also like, come on, guys, like make the strength build actually worth the damn, please, because that's the way that I find the game kind of the most fun to play in general.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what you were talking about last week with for a while I was doing like the ice thing, like always having an ice weapon so I could freeze dudes and then just sort of smash them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did keep an ice grenade on that build as kind of my like holy shit emergency button, but I didn't use it very much in that build.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to it as well then.
It's so good, man. It's such a fun game to play.
I think I finally reached the point where I'm kind of tapped out on Resident Evil 2. So
how many times have you finished that?
112.
Like 12.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I got S+ ranks on hardcore with both Leon and Claire in their A scenarios. Part of me is like, I should do the B scenarios. You don't get anything for doing it aside from the satisfaction of having done it. So I don't know if I actually will, but. I did the Ghost Survivors DLC, which was like pretty good, but it's just kind of like it's basically like more maps for Fourth Survivor. Essentially, is all it is, and which is fine, for free DLC. Like that's cool, but I wasn't like enamored with it the same way the main campaign. Really.
It's no mercenaries mode, that's for sure.
No, it's really not. I would love that if the game had a mercenaries, because mercenaries is just so much, or raid mode,
mercenaries is the best,
battle, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That would be preferable to me. But that's not the thing currently. So I unlocked Dante in DMC5 though, and man.
You have to unlock him? He's not just part of the campaign?
Story progression.
Well, you have to get to the part in the
part in the story where you save him.
Yeah, he's hella fun.
It's like, I mean, Alex and I don't remember, I think we were talking about this on stream at one point, but it's like you're like V is interesting because he's so different from what you expect from a Devil May Cry character, and like Nero is very similar.
He's your brother, and he has the mower of lawns, and it's fun to play as him.
Yes.
The mower of lawns.
Chair of wheels.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a yeah. It's okay, Mike.
Delete.
So yeah, when you play as Nero, you definitely delete a lot of demons, and it's sort of like playing as Dante in the first Devil May Cry. Like you have some stuff that you can do, and actually you have these cool robot arms, and one of them lets you do wrestling moves on monsters, which is pretty dope. But like once you unlock Dante, it like Alex was talking about how like it's super technical, and like I was kind of like, oh, I wonder what he means by that.
He's
But then, like,
the most complicated he's ever been.
he is, but it's like he's the easiest if you're into it and you are like utilizing all your different stuff. He's the easiest one to get triple S rankings with.
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
because the thing is, you've got like you start with 2 guns, 3 guns technically, I guess, but like you have your 2 pistols and your shotgun that you can switch between on the fly, and then you start with the sword, Rebellion, and his melee. They were called Ifrit in the first game, but now they're called something else. But it's like the thing that's
Balrog.
Fire Balrog, yeah. Because Capcom can't resist the opportunity to put something called Balrog in like every game they make. So you can switch between those on the fly, and then you've also got 4 different styles, which in like Devil May Cry 3, you could only change styles in between chapters.
Yeah.
So like if you were playing with the Trickster style, then you were like doing that for the whole mission, and then you could switch out. But in DMC 4, I guess I never played far enough to play as Dante in DMC 4 because I didn't really like it very much. But in DMC 5, they're all 4 styles are assigned to the D-pad, so you can switch on the fly. So it's like you switch to Trickster to do like a cool dodge, and then you switch to Swordmaster, and then you like lay down some sword attacks, but then like mid-flow you switch to the Balrog and start like laying punches down and doing like other tricky dodge shit that is specific to that weapon. And then even on the Balrog, there's a punching stance and a kicking stance that you can switch between on the fly. And so like if you're doing all this stuff and switching between on the fly and being effective with your dodges and not taking hits, like you can move your style ranking up to triple S like pretty fast and just like rip monsters apart, and it feels really good.
It feels super good. So in 4, you could switch styles on the fly, but it was not as fast as it is in this game, where you just tap the D-pad and you're in it. There was like a little like transition animation, but now there's not. You can just do it. And by the end of the game, you will have 4 guns and 4 swords.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah, and I have a sword that is not a sword, but is in fact a motorcycle that's also 2 chainsaws.
Yes.
And that...
Sure.
And so you can, when you're in Swordmaster mode, you can ride it as a motorcycle.
Yes.
And do wheelies and chop people up with like a buzzsaw like wheelie.
Yep.
But later you get the Cerberus from 3, which is the ice nunchucks from 3.
Oh, sure.
But now it's also in Swordmaster mode. When you hit the sword button, it's or like the special button, it's a bow staff. And then also when you charge the button, depending on whether you're holding the staff or the nunchuck button, you do like a 3-section staff lightning move. So it's 3 weapons in one, depending on what style you're in. And it's great. It's nuts. Like
it's fucking sick, dude.
When you're in Gunslinger, your pistols, like all your guns behave different and shit too.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many options and so many things you can do.
I usually I'm switching between Trickster and Swordmaster like a lot.
That's pretty much yeah. I don't like Royal Guard. I don't use that ever, but I use the other 3. Those 2 the most.
Yeah, but it's just like it almost becomes a whole different game, and like and all 3 characters play like very differently from each other, which is pretty cool. So like if you prefer that, the only thing that I kind of don't like is like there's like a sort of passive online multiplayer.
Yeah,
thing, and I would sort of like it more if I could just like be like, hey Alex, want to play DMC 5, and we could just like get in a game and play together. Like that would be more fun than like
I don't even know
somebody's like ghost basically is just like playing on the other side of the map from you. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like
yeah, that's not implemented well, but
still, it's like I would
game.
say it's like legit probably my second favorite DMC after the first one. Although I
mean, DMC 3 fucking kicks ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's one I need to revisit too, because I played the original release of that, and I only got a few missions in because I was just like, this is super fucking hard. Like, which it was, and that's.
Wait, have you not played DMC 3? Is that what you're telling me?
I haven't finished it.
Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get the fuck out of here. Go play DMC 3. That game fucking rules, man.
It's very good.
You're crazy. You're crazy, dude. Okay, I'm done playing Third Strike. I can talk more now. Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, no, I was like I was kind of ignoring my friend because I beat him, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta talk. But then now he's like, oh, I gotta go. I'm like, okay, cool. Perfect.
All right.
Anyway,
So
Third
yeah,
Strike's
I
a
don't know.
great game.
DMC5 is that's pretty good. So
It is. I actually just beat it today as well because I've been putting off playing it like for a while, and yeah, it's good.
Apparently, I think you can beat it early. Like if you like, there's a fight where you fight the final boss as Nero, like halfway through the game, like right before you unlock Dante, basically.
Yeah.
And apparently, it is possible to beat him.
So it's
It
like
is.
Chrono Trigger.
But it's
Yeah,
not.
kind
You shouldn't.
of.
but you can. Yeah, I think I didn't know that you it counted as beat. I knew you could beat it, but I didn't know it like ended the game.
I'm not sure. I haven't done it. I just saw that there's like a trophy for doing it.
Yeah, because it's literally like it's one of those things where it's like every time you hit him, it does 1 damage, and he has like 1 billion health, and you're supposed to lose. Like one of those things. But technically, if you hit him like, 500 times or whatever without getting hit, like, there you go.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So also I don't know. I don't want to get into it with people who haven't played it. Yeah, I know Eric doesn't care about spoilers, but I don't know about people watching. I don't know about Mike and Kurt or whatever. But like the reveal of like who the villain actually is.
Yeah, for Devil May Cry, I don't mind.
The villain is Virgil again, basically.
I don't even know who he is.
He's the evil brother.
Push Y to
Isn't he a
call
poet?
Yes.
Well, yeah, Virgil and Dante. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the naming
I
reference.
see what they did there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. That's like kind of a spoiler, but not really, because you actually find out like about halfway through, actually, about halfway through, you find out that like
It's
also it's Virgil again.
It's also, so not to spoil the ending a little bit, but I felt like the ending was kind of like, I don't want to say rushed, but it's like, okay, like all right, we've already said it at this point. Virgil just like straight up comes back. And he has like all of his powers from before, right? And so you're like, oh, dude, it's Virgil, okay. And you're like, we gotta go fight Virgil. And then it's like you fight him, and it's kind of like, okay, game's over. And you're like, oh, all right. Like, it felt like weirdly rushed and anticlimactic, but I don't know. It was fine. The rest of the gameplay's good. So
I mean, I 100% don't play DMC for the fucking lore. Like,
right, that's what I just said. It's like it felt weird, but it's also like, yeah, but whatever. Like he jumped at me with his sword and did a bunch of crazy shit with lasers, and I dodged it, and it was cool.
Right.
Like that's what matters.
I mean, Devil May Cry is dumb and all the. I mean, like I said, I have a sword that is a motorcycle and also 2 chainsaws.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's tight.
Like, yeah, it is. It's stupid in all the best, most perfect ways that something like that can be stupid.
Yeah.
So.
My problem with Devil May Cry is that it's fun to switch between all the weapons and shit, but I kind of always just want to use the pistols and the sword. I'm like very boring.
I really like the Balrog. Like, I enjoy using that a lot, and switching between the punching.
It's okay.
Like stances.
Yeah, you gotta build up your heat or whatever the fuck it's
up.
called.
Yeah. Heat up.
You can definitely you can too, but
yes,
of course,
obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm finally gonna start Sekiro this week.
Yeah, I need to finish that as well.
Yeah.
The time you get around to it, the shadows are going to die a 3rd time.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I kept going back to Resident Evil 2, and it was like, if I'm running this game on like S+ and hardcore, I don't want to stop playing it, because then I'll forget all the shit.
You won't.
Like,
you gotta do that when you're deep into it.
Very fresh.
Yeah. That's kind of my problem with Hollow Knight, is I never beat the super boss in Hollow Knight, and I'm like, I can't go back to Hollow Knight right now. I haven't played that game in like a year.
Do you mean the Radiance, or do you mean like the God King shit?
The like fire guy from
Super
the
Grim?
DLC. Yeah, Super Grim.
Yeah, that's Mike
I
trying to talk
didn't
me
fight
into doing all
Nightmare
that
Grim.
stuff, and it just was.
No. No one should beat.
In order to
No one should beat Nightmare King Grim. Everyone should beat the Radiance, because there's some really cool stuff getting to the kind of real ending of that game. And Alex, I got a great solution for you. Just start a new game.
Yeah, but I don't want to play.
Fighting the Radiance was kind of frustrating, but when you finally like nail its attack patterns and sort of figure out what's going on and like pull it off, it feels really good. And then apparently the God, what is it? The God Eater, not God Eater.
No, Grim. Well, there's God Eater is the last, or God Home is the last DLC for the game, and that's got like super powered versions.
Right, there's like a new ending though. Like,
there is a new ending.
Oh, there is? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that shit.
I'm not
Fuck, I
doing
gotta go play Hollow Knight. What the fuck?
It's like an hour.
Yeah, you will never get the new
rush.
ending.
I'm not doing it.
Hey, fuck you.
It's every boss in the game, including harder versions of like the Radiance,
And don't you have to beat them without using emblems or badges?
You don't have to. It's so the thing with God Home is it's a bunch of challenge rooms where you fight like a series of bosses, like maybe 10 or 12 in a row, and then the last one is every boss in the game, and at least one or two of them are harder than they are normally.
God Master.
God Master, right? God Master happens in God Home.
Yes, that's the new location or whatever.
Yeah, I definitely.
But I didn't do Nightmare King Grim. I did all the Grim stuff, like the initial stuff with Grim, but I didn't do the Nightmare King Grim fight because he was like.
Well, I've tried it. It's just incredibly hard. Like
yeah, I've heard that it's ridiculous. I also didn't do the additional. What are the fights with?
It's one of those fights where every individual thing you need to do is not that bad, but there's a lot of individual things you need to do that come at you very quickly.
And if you fuck one of them up,
if you fuck one of them up, you're really hurt.
Your run is bone. Who's the failed champion who Zote the Mighty? I didn't do the.
Oh yeah,
I beat him.
Prince Zote.
I beat him once to get the thing, and then it's like you can beat him like 50 more times or something.
I think you have infinite Zotes if you want.
Yeah. Is it 12 or whatever?
It's like 12. It's like it gets harder up to a certain
every time, and I was like, I'm not doing that either.
I beat it the first time, and I was like, that's cool. I beat him. Like I don't need to. Like I play all the Souls games and shit, but I don't beat everyone on like New Game plus. You know what I mean? I'm like, I beat it. That's fine. I'm not trying to.
Although fighting Zote the Mighty in the Coliseum was probably one of the funniest moments in that game. That was a fantastic little moment. I don't know if you guys did the Coliseum stuff at all.
Yeah.
I
played a lot of Hollow Knight. My boy got into it at one point, so I've done, I don't know, 3 or 4 times through beating the Radiance, and plus my earlier thing from last year when I decided to speedrun the game. And I'm not much of a speedrunner, but I got my time down to 4 hours for the regular clear, which is like 7 times longer than the world record. But I thought that was
really that fast. Like, is that a no?
It is
glitchless, or does that include like jumping through walls you're not?
Well, okay, so look, there's a lot of glitches in Hollow Knight, and the record category allows you to do a couple of glitches. It's called no major glitches. So there's one that they do all the time, which is like a fast drop, basically, which doesn't save much time. But one thing that every speedrunner does that I never do is quit the game and reload the game, because that puts you back at whatever bench you last saved at, so you can basically travel halfway or like all the way across the map instantaneously, more or less. Right. So if I ever want to get serious about it, I'll have to start doing that.
Right. This thing that Eric's fighting was pretty fucking dope, by the way.
Well, it's actually much less tedious.
Bone Hydra.
Is it a boss, or is it just like?
This is as far as I've made it. I've never.
This is the second boss.
Yeah, I haven't beaten this guy yet.
It's pretty tough.
I did it there once or twice.
Well, he's not that tough, but he
close-ish.
summons like 1,000 copies of himself that you have to fight, and it becomes.
Well, it's a Hydra, right? Got all them Hydra heads.
I guess.
Yeah, but shouldn't you be able to stop?
You can't just kill the main head.
Well, he's already in a lake of fire, so I'm not sure that the burning is going to do much.
It's incongruous with the original myth. Then is all I'm saying.
Well, this is a bone Hydra. The rules are.
This Hydra's already been slain once, man. It's harder the second time.
Undead.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just that every time you get him down like a chunk of health, he summons these heads, and there are more every time.
Yes.
So it gets harder and harder. I hate boss fights to get harder as they go on.
There's just so much.
You mean all boss fights?
There's just the problem is the reason it's hard is that there's just so much shit to dodge at a certain point. That it's hard to keep track of everything.
Once he's got like 6 extra heads attacking you.
I don't know, Alex. There are some boss fights in some games that are the same.
Yeah, but I just mean
like a flat. It's just as hard the whole fight.
But generally speaking, they're like, if you get their health bar down, they bust out new shit. That's like.
I know.
What boss do?
Yeah, but some bosses they have behavior like. As I said, I was playing a lot of Resident Evil 2, and the final humanoid form of Birkin, that you fight as both Leon and Claire, like he has like a final form that he takes, but he starts doing silly shit, like he rips a thing off the wall, which like if you're standing in front of it can hit you like the whole length of the room, but if you literally just stand on one side of him, you can just like pump bullets into him while he rips this giant thing off the wall and like doesn't actually aim it at you. He just always throws it straight backward. So like some bosses get kind of easier when they change forms.
Right, but that's because you like learned how to dodge that move and exploit it. You know what I mean? Like the first time you busted that thing off, you didn't know what to do, and it probably does a shit ton of damage.
It might. I don't think it's a one shot, but it's close. The super tyrant that you face as Leon has a one shot.
Leon. Sorry. Couldn't help myself.
It's okay. The super tyrant has a one-hit kill that you have to either like grenade him or headshot him with a very powerful weapon or flashbang him. Otherwise, you're just gonna die because it homes in on you. He'll find you wherever you are, and if you don't stagger him before he does it, you're just gonna die in one shot. But I don't think G. Birkin has anything like that that I can think of off the top of my head.
How do you keep not dying, Eric?
So you get there. One of your skills that you can get is like an extra life, and then Athena will give you extra lives too when you take her boon. So
can you just kill the main head and the rest die?
No,
or
you have to kill all the other heads in order to make hit. The other one, the middle one, is currently impervious. So I'll beat him this time because I killed all the other heads. And then once it's like one-on-one, it's pretty easy. But
yeah, it seems like it.
Especially with a spear or any ranged weapon.
Was that you just using one of your extra lives when Artemis showed up for a second?
No, that's like there's a wrath mode thing that you can do. There's like if you look at the bottom left, there's a...
Oh, is that the right
gauge.
trigger?
Yeah, there's like a right trigger thing. Each different god will offer you a different one of those. Artemis is just like, she sends out like 10 like shots and makes you impervious for a second. There's one...
So one time I got one of those, I couldn't seem to get it to activate. Every time I've tried pulling the trigger, he's like, I don't have enough juice.
It charges really slowly. It charges really slowly. It actually charges faster when you take damage than when you do damage, and I find it's almost impossible to get it to get it all the way up when you're just in normal battles. It mostly just comes into play in the boss battles.
Okay, because the normal does it empty out after every room?
Yes.
Okay, so if the fight's not long, you'll never get to use it.
Hydra vanquished.
Yeah, even if you're perfect, sometimes it's kind of difficult to.
Captain America would be proud.
Up there. But see, well, it's making me 45 minutes ish to beat the second boss. But you can just turn the game off and then just pick up where you left off, so you don't have to do a full run.
You can do like a quick save type of thing.
Have you ever beaten the third boss?
No, I got to the third boss the last time I got here, but I haven't beaten it yet.
I kind of wonder if maybe there are only 3 regions and then maybe like a final boss after that.
Possible.
A lot of these games have 3 act structures.
So, Mike, you said that you finally beat Dead Cells. But
yeah,
like, the
2
new
years in the
DLC
making.
adds a new boss, right? So where do you fight that?
So the new DLC, you have to beat New Game plus 5, and then you can do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what? So it's a little confusing because when you beat the boss the first time, you know, at the very start of the game, there's an enormous skeleton in the background where you start every time.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there is, and after you beat the boss the first time, you come back and he's gone. You're like, oh, that's weird. And then you go to the right, and there was a gigantic door that you could not open, and the door's been smashed open. And like following that guy, I'm not sure how you're supposed to do it. It requires some keys and things. So
I
I
don't
feel
know
like
either because I haven't beaten New Game plus 5.
no, but I haven't either. I just beat the game one time, and I got all this stuff. But I also saw the door that you're talking about, the New Game plus 5 door, is behind the boss at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure if the giant is maybe not the same as the extra level that you can go to. I don't know.
I assumed it was all related. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to put Dead Cells down for a while. I'm sure I'll pick it back up again in 6 months because it's real good. I like all the changes they made to that game, by the way. Like, that game is very different than when I used to play it.
Did the Game of the Year stuff this year, you were kind of down on all the changes from when
I wasn't down on them. I just hadn't understood them yet.
I feel like they changed it again since then. Anyways, isn't it like
they have? Yeah, they've put in a whole bunch of changes.
Since when I beat it, I like just played it the other day, and I was like, oh, the skills I usually take aren't here, like or mutations or whatever they're called. I'm like,
mutations didn't exist when I started playing this game.
Right.
That seems like it'd be really hard without the mutations.
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't find that they were that important. Although I unlocked one very recently that reduces
the one that gives you
damage
an extra
after
life really helps, right? I forgot what it's called.
It gives you like a third of a health bar extra. So I mean, it's good, but by the time you get to the point, I get to the last boss pretty regularly, and it's not much help there because it's less than like one extra heal at that point. I was getting to the point where I'd rather take a different mutation just to be a bit more powerful. But I didn't think any of them were game-changing, except for the one that I just unlocked at the end, which reduces all damage you take for a few seconds after you take a hit, which means that it's very hard for them to chain you down from full health to nothing.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
which happens a lot in that game. But yeah, they keep changing it up. I really like that they've put the time door stuff is now between levels, which means you don't have to find them, so you can just consistently.
That's
amazing. That last week, and I'm very into that.
That is a very recent change, and that's a very good one.
That's a good change. It means you can just sprint through the first couple levels if you want, and as long as you're willing to just deal with whatever cool items they give you, as you know, if you're not too picky about what you get, you're going to get some really good stuff, and you're going to get a bunch of cells and money, and it means you don't waste a lot of time on the early levels. I still think that
there were times when I would go to the next stage, and I'd be like, I have time to make the door. But I would like forget where the door was exactly, and I would
or just not find it because it could be anywhere sometimes.
I feel like in most of the early levels, it's always in the same place. Like they because the maps change a little bit, right? There's like a roguelike element to some of the mapping.
They're kind of composed of a bunch of blocks stuck together,
but I feel like the time doors at the beginning of the stages are at least like that part of the stage is always the same, or at least it was when I was playing for the first.
Well, there's one or two that I could always find, but there are others I couldn't. I don't know. But I will say that there are some stages
normally make it to, and I was like, oh, I have time, and then I went the wrong way, and then I was like, oh, it's locked now.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Now it's too late.
So it's good that they changed that.
Yeah, that sounds like positive change for sure.
I will say there are some stages in that game that I just don't ever want to go to anymore, and I don't see a good reason to go to them either. All the stuff that's like the ossuary and the prison depths and places like that, the levels are just long and annoying, and they still spit you. Most of them still spit you out in front of the collector, which you can get to a lot faster if you just kind of mainline through the promenade of the condemned and the ramparts.
That's usually the way.
There's an alternate boss you can get to depending on which path you take. I forget exactly which levels bring you to the what's his name? Conjunctivitis, I think is what they call him.
Yeah.
And I beat that guy once. He's a huge pain in the ass. I don't know. I don't like him.
I thought he's not bad.
Also, way back in the day, I found some sort of creepy hell graveyard level that led to conjunctivitis, and I haven't seen that level since, so I don't even know if it's still in the game at this point.
They have not taken any levels out, so...
No. I don't know how you get there.
Let me see which one you're talking about, because I don't remember. It's been a minute. You're probably thinking of either prison depths or... I
am not thinking of the prison depths.
No, that's a boss level. Never mind. There's one called Graveyard. I've only done that. I've only done that one once myself as well.
How did you get to the graveyard? Does it say?
I forget. That's the exit. Let me see.
Maybe it's one of the exits from the ossuary.
It is weird. It is a weird place. So shut up, phone. Let's see here. So you have to get there from the Insufferable Crypt, which is where you fight conjunctivitis.
Oh,
that's where we'll all be buried, by the way. Okay,
so what it was is before you fought him after the graveyard, which is why I'm so confused because I haven't beaten him in a while.
So it's when you go from the ancient sewers and you fight conjunctivitis or conjunctivivius. There it is.
I was gonna say conjunctivitis is like.
Yeah.
Well, he's a giant eye monster.
He is a giant eye monster. So, but you can go either from there to the graveyard or the slumbering sanctuary. I think you need an item to get to the graveyard, but I don't like you need to grow the vines or like have the wall climb rune or something. But if you have all those things, then it's fine.
Mm. There are clearly a lot of secrets in that game I haven't found either because I keep finding doors that require specific keys that are like not the ones that you find just easily in the levels. And I keep seeing like hidden spots in the middle of walls and I have no idea how to get to them, and like I can't find a hidden passage in the walls to get to them sometimes. So
do you have the teleport thing?
I have all the runes.
Okay.
But every once in a
I
while,
feel
I'll
like
see
that
like
was the thing I was missing. Like I only had like 1 or 2 of the runes, and I was
Yeah,
like,
you
where
should
am I
have-
missing these? Like, what
you're
am
just
I
gonna
doing
take
wrong?
alternate paths until you find them.
Yeah, there's like hidden walls, like breakable walls and shit too. Maybe sometimes you just need to find shit like that. So I guess to get to the giant, you have to go to where was it? I just missed it. The cavern, and then
What
from
cavern?
there, the cavern.
The
How do you get to the cavern?
the cavern?
From the graveyard or the slumbering sanctuary. So go fight conjunctivitis, conjunctivivius.
Oh,
And
the
then
slumbering
go-
sanctuary. I like the slumbering sanctuary.
Well, then go there and then go to
The cavern and fight the
and
giant
then
boss.
fight the giant. Yeah,
Is
but
that the end? Is that like an alternate end of the game, or?
I don't think so, but it is how you get the 5th stem cell. So I guess you really only need to beat New Game plus 4, and then on New Game plus 4, you fight him, and that gives you the 5th one. And then when you go with all 5 of them, then you can go do this like super area.
All right. It's all a little confusing, but I do appreciate that there's so much stuff buried in this game.
Yeah, they just want you
Also-
to play New Game Plus and all that.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. I'm a little scared. I also love that you can change the food in the game and make it all baguettes and croissants, because that makes my son happy.
I have it all as Castlevania stuff because that makes the most sense to me.
The game's made in France, dude.
So
It's all
look at
about la baguette.
You sure it's not made in Castlevania?
yeah,
The croissant.
Really? I didn't realize they were I didn't realize they were French.
Yes, very, very French, I believe.
Extremely French.
Extremely French.
So French. So they're not from Belgium, and they're not from Canada, and they're
They
not
all have
from
berets. They ride bicycles,
Louisiana.
and striped shirts.
They're the only movies they watch are from
Black and white.
and yeah. They all love
Jerry Lewis.
yes, that no, I was gonna say what's that movie that like people there's a very large divide where everybody either loves it or hates it. Last year at Marienbad?
What?
I don't know, man.
Last year at Marienbad. 1961, Alan Rene.
Right.
And-
I'm just gonna say that I'm getting pretty tired. I need to get some sleep. But I want to just quickly shout out. I played Gato Roboto. That game is pretty cool.
oh yeah, how is it?
It's fun. It's super short, and well, it's just like I took like 3 hours to finish it. Got almost everything. It's charming and fun to play. It's not very pretentious, and it does not. It's not like especially surprising, but it makes pretty good use of what it's got, and it's fun. I just like the way it moves, and I like the upgrades that you get. I think it's a pretty solid base for a game. It's short, and I'll probably pick it up and play it through it again. Every once in a while when I want something easy to digest.
So it's short by Metroidvania standards means
Well, my first playthrough was like 3 hours, and I found almost everything.
oh damn, okay.
So if you know what you're doing, I'm sure it's like a half hour.
I
game.
sort of didn't go for it just because I was like I have all these games that are I'm a little more than halfway done with DMC5. I haven't started Sekiro yet, and I'm like I don't need a Metroidvania. I'm thinking it's going to be 12 hours or I wasn't expecting Hollow Knight length of because I think that took me about 25 or 30 I want to say the first time I beat Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like a really polished game jam game. It's good. It's fun. It's charming. I had a lot of fun with it. I also got it for like I don't know $7 or something like that. It wasn't very expensive. So yeah, I say go for it if you like games like that. I don't really have any complaints, which is rare in the world of Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
It is one.
How blaster mastery is it? Like how much time do you spend as the cat out of the suit?
Is a fraud
I will-
involved in the story?
It's not blaster mastery in the sense that when you get out of the suit, it's kind of like if you were in morph ball mode.
Okay.
Like you use the cat to explore small passageways, and what's interesting is that as the cat, you can't take any hits. You will die as soon as you take a hit. But you can swim, which you can't do in the suit. And so yeah, it just makes some pretty clever usage of getting in and out of the suit, and the power-ups it gives you are fun. I will say, like the rockets that it gives you, instead of being like a limited number of missiles, it's got a temperature gauge, so you can fire rockets until you overheat, and that's fun because it means that you can kind of use them as much as you want. And so all the enemies that you have to deal with as you're just traversing the world, you can make pretty short work of them if you want. It's satisfying and fun. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Void Bastards looks really cool. I hope it comes to PC Game Pass. I would give it a try. Bye, everyone.
It's okay. It's not as good as Hades.
Well, hopefully I can play it for free and find out.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it looks.
This is Void Bastards.
Oh, hey, you're playing Void
This
Bastards.
is another roguelite type game, although this one is mechanically
This is
a
sort of like
first-person shooter kind of a thing.
Right, and kind of a satire of BioShock.
Nah,
In terms of the way it plays, I guess, like, right? Like the way you pick up stuff and kind of the...
not really. It's a little bit more like you're gathering resources to like actually build things.
Oh, there's a crafting component?
Yeah.
I'm suddenly less interested than I was like.
Well,
5
so
minutes
like
ago.
all those resources that you get, I mean, it's like the crafting is very basic. You need
Okay.
like 2 parts to make a better gun or whatever. Like that's pretty much it. And
Okay,
then you can collect all this shit like pens and coins and things. And then a certain number of those will make the big parts that let you make the better guns. But generally speaking, you could just collect that stuff if you really needed to. I like it so far. It's like Kara Ellison
I
helped write
really
it.
like the look of it.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I like the aesthetic. I like there's like a cheeky robot guy that is.
What'd you say about Kara Ellison?
Kara Ellison was one of the like lead writers on it.
Oh.
And it's like that's the part of it that I enjoy the most. The shooting part of it is just a little bit. It's just not. It's like okay, but not really fun.
This is not an early access, though, right? This
No,
is a
this is
game
out,
that's out, right?
yeah.
Okay.
The succubus.
So we can't hope for the shooting to be fixed.
No, I
I
mean,
guess
it's,
we can hope for it, but right.
it's not like
Patches exist.
it ain't
Patches
broken.
exist.
It's just it's a little like stiff and
It looks
kinda
boring.
simple. Yeah, I mean that's not.
That's what I was waiting to say. Is like this game, like it's a super cool idea, and I like the look of it. But whenever I see somebody playing it, I'm like, this looks slow and boring.
It's like it needs like a slide or a dash or something.
Didn't you just do a dash?
You can sprint, but you can't like do like what I really want to do is the slide from Apex.
Yeah, right.
But I want to do that in all first-person shooters now. So. But it needs like it's like missing like something, and I don't know exactly what it is.
There's just something certain je ne sais what that is missing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How you say I don't know.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, I died. Oh well.
Don't do that.
I like it. I've played like 4 or 5 hours of it, and it's good, but it's just like with Hades and with the Outer Wilds around, it's kind of hard to. Like this weekend I played a ton of video games, and it was like
I fell into the sun.
I
got my money's
Outer
worth.
Wilds? Yeah.
I was traveling from the moon to another planet, and I didn't do the right thing, and suddenly I was caught in the gravity well and burned up in the sun.
Yeah. How about I
10 out of 10.
How about I play like 5 minutes of that game? Is that all you did? And that is just flying to the.
I've explored around. I've been to 2
Am I gonna have to
places.
leave this so you're done talking about this?
I mean, I'm not gonna talk.
Get out of here.
not
We're
gonna
dancing around,
talk
essentially negotiating how much we're going to talk about it.
specifics or anything. But...
So, I would
see.
say I am early enough in that spoilers would exist, and if you want to show it or whatever, I would stop watching.
I mean, I'm just gonna take off, and you can look at the solar system real quick. But
Oh yeah,
people
if you're
should-
just going to do that, if you're not going to like
I'm
land
not
on a
gonna-
planet
I'm
and
not-
like
I won't
explore around,
land or-
yeah, if you're just going to show like exploring, that's fine.
But I'm just about ready to call it a night anyway. But holy shit,
Yeah.
this game is fucking. It's really something.
Alright.
That's
Honestly.
my opinion, anyways.
I-
I think that.
yeah,
I
I've
think that. So,
Like I said,
so
I've
this
explored 2 planets, and I'm like, yeah, I want to know where this is going.
Non-linear storytelling, man. That's where it's
Yeah.
at these days with your games that. Like, there's like a mechanical diversity in that, like whether it's Gone Home or Her Story or whatever. There were some other recent examples of that.
Subnautica.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I didn't play enough of that, but I'll take your word for it. Actually, I could do a new expedition and just run through the beginning part of it real quick, and then do the first takeoff.
Sure.
This doesn't really matter. So, like, the basics of this is that you're on this weird little planet and you're an astronaut and you're trying to take off. Oh no, actually, I probably shouldn't do that. I probably shouldn't do this. But so when you get into when you get into your rocket ship and take off.
Wait, there's a rocket ship in this game?
Wait, oh shit, did it? Oh no.
Did it wipe your
yeah,
save?
It totally did.
Oh my god.
All right,
You
well,
have
I'm
the
done
worst
playing.
luck with
I'm
that.
done playing Outer Wilds because fuck, man.
How much time did you put in?
Like probably 10 or more hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, you can.
But isn't it like now that
you
you've
can
figured
push EA
stuff
to
out?
roast marshmallows. So.
Yeah. You can roast marshmallows and think you can set them on fire, and then if you eat them without setting them on fire, they make one noise, but if you set them on fire, they make a crunchy noise.
Yeah, I can roast a marshmallow. That's my alien buddy. That's what I look like.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's like
Yes.
so it's like on a 22-minute.
You gotta extend the stick.
Every 22 minutes, the sun explodes.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
The sun goes supernova, and then you wake back up. Right
I guess
in
I
this
haven't made it that
place.
long.
Yeah, there's a lot of other ways to die. Die by falling. Die by taking off in your rocket ship.
I
and then
died
forgetting to
within
put your
2
space
minutes
suit
of
on
starting the game.
because you have to manually put your spacesuit on, and if you don't, then you go out into space and then you just fucking suffocate immediately.
Once Eric is done with roasting his marshmallow, he'll go to the little village, and I'll point out exactly what I did to die almost immediately after starting this game.
My favorite part of the game is when you play it and then it turns out that it was Earth all along.
You
Whoa.
monsters!
So
You blew
I've
it up.
played enough of this game that I think I've figured out exactly what's going on, or at least not exactly
what the
what's
thing
going
is.
on, but I have like.
Right, it was Earth all
It
along.
was
That's
Earth all
right. Yeah,
along.
yeah.
You run into the
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty, and then there's Earth.
And then you say, "You maniacs, you blew it," and then the sun goes supernova.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a gorilla jumps into a helicopter and punches it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But enough about the new.
We
Fast
still
and
need to watch
Furious.
that movie, dude.
Yeah,
Fuck.
we do. It's fucking good.
Like I'm waiting. Like I'm saying, why didn't we think about that one day that we were hanging out and we didn't have
I
anything
don't
to
know.
do? All right. Anyway.
So if you see down in that area where he's flying the little
Little
drone into,
Yeah.
yeah, there's one of those as a geyser. And so I was exploring around and I jumped onto the geyser and I fell into the area underneath and died.
What did you die from impact or because you drowned or?
It was not clear to
Guess we'll
me.
find out.
It was pretty fast.
Impact.
Whoops.
Oh, Eric
Yeah.
just got launched into the air.
I thought I would actually get launched, but that's not what happened.
It depends on.
Well, it turns out if you do get launched,
Yeah, you fall.
you
in.
have kind of
Yeah,
the
you'll
same-
splat instead. Yeah,
I like that it rolls credits after you die.
it does. Yeah.
Until you do the.
I was
thing.
like, oh, okay. I guess I'm starting over.
God damn it.
Okay.
I can't fucking believe that. So there's like profiles.
There
so
should-
I bet if you switch profiles, you can probably start a new game without losing your save.
should-
But there's no
If
like,
if
manual
it was gonna
backup.
wipe your thing, it should have said no.
Yeah.
You're gonna wipe your save.
So like all it.
Are you
Time to-
sure?
Every time you
Time to
die
dust off that
and-
Twitter account,
Every
Eric.
time you die and reset, you don't like. There's no progress in the world that you ever make. Like there's no way to make any permanent progress in the world. But there's a computer on your ship that can store all the information of all the things. that you've done.
It has everything you've
And so
found
that's
out.
what I lost. Like I lost my
Yeah.
my map of everything.
Right,
that
your
I've
log
seen
of like
done.
all the shit that you've
I can go
Hey,
back and
Joe
do
is
it,
over here,
but fuck,
and
man.
oh by the way, there's this thing you found, and it's weird. Maybe you should go back and look at it.
Right. Or it'll also
Wow.
like so when you go to the planets, there's like things you can read and look at, and then the computer will also like it makes it's like the pins on the board with the yarn where it's like making all these connections between all these different things that you see.
Yeah.
And then it'll also I don't even know where to go. I haven't done this in such a long time.
You have to go. Yeah, you have to go to the left.
Power.
Go up there, and then the left, and then you go up
There
and
are
just keep going up.
signposts that tell you where to go, but
They are,
there you
yeah.
go. Here's the observatory. I gotta go this way.
Yeah, you got to go to the observatory, and then you got to get the codes.
Fuck, man. You can talk to all these people. I haven't actually. I tried to initially. I tried to go back, but this time I did the conference thing.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a lot of new dialogue. Although there may have been some with how far I was, but now I'll fucking never.
There's
know.
some from the guy that's sitting there where he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I might be done playing this game, honestly. Like that is a fucking killer.
Well, we just got to watch you beat the game.
Yeah, you saw I rolled the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically
job.
the same thing.
So when you're on your deathbed, are
So
you
it's
gonna
our
be
fault,
like, I
really.
won, and then like that's it?
All right, Eric.
Eric
Should've
can blame
just taken
us.
off and flown into the sun.
Yeah.
Just have Kurt share his save file.
Yeah, but he's probably
Indeed.
so. See, the thing is, it's totally non-linear. So he's probably
Right,
done
you just
things that I
poke
haven't
around.
done, and then he's probably
Who
I've
who
done
loves
things that he
non-linear
didn't
stuff
do.
now, huh? Yeah.
That's true. I
Huh,
can, just,
bitch?
I can just go look at the
Got
stuff
him.
that I want to go look at.
Got How do you fight people in this
You
game?
don't fight people.
This game sucks ass.
I'm really into that.
No,
now.
Alex, I'm sorry. The correct response is this isn't a game.
There. Now I got the launch
I
pad
mean,
thing to take.
whatever.
This is
Yeah.
this is a astronaut
Walking
simulator, flying simulator or something.
Here's the map of the
How many bosses are there? None.
It's not a
Everyone's
video game.
Everyone's
It's not
a
a
boss.
video game.
The Hourglass Twins, the Timber Hearth, and its moon, the Brittle Hollow and Hollow's Lantern,
Sif,
the Dark Bramble,
Artorias. Yeah. They're all your friends are there.
Giant's Deep,
The Outer
the
Loper.
Quantum Moon. There's a fucking moon in this game
Oh, boy.
that if you look at it, it's there, and then if you don't look at it, it disappears and goes someplace else because it's fucking Schrodinger's moon. There's so much.
I hadn't seen that yet.
There's so much good shit in this game.
Obviously.
I think my personal problem with this game, I'll never play this game, not because it's not interesting, but because I'll be annoyed by the fact that I have to restart every 22 minutes. I'm like, if I could just explore, it's like a game. It's like explore. There's a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah,
I'm like, cool.
You
so
play
that's actually the biggest problem
Dragon
I have
Quarter?
with it is that I kind of wish that I could just like so in that 22 minutes shit happens that changes where you can go and what you can look at. And so like there are definitely times where I wish I could jump to like the 10-minute mark in the cycle.
The
like
Majora's Mask problem.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric and I were
kinda,
talking about
except
this the other
that-
day,
except
and
that it's not locked
yeah.
to dungeons or anything, so you could just go do
Well,
something
right,
else.
right,
or you can
but-
just kill yourself and start over. But it definitely like after the 10th time, I wish that there was just like a message from the developers that popped up and go, "Hey, like you can keep doing it the regular way if you want. Like if it's meaningful to you, to have that meaningful to you to have that experience. But if you don't want to do that, like here, we'll just let you pick where and when you want to check out, so you don't have to do the whole loop
I'm
over.
sure the internet will be mad at me because I'm probably wrong, but in the 3DS remake or whatever of Majora's Mask, which is the best version of that game,
Right.
they added more ways to skip ahead in the time
No,
the
everybody
time
said
loop.
Yeah.
that when it came out.
Yeah.
And that,
Everybody was
yeah,
very
and it
glad
made
about
it really nice. Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, so the stakes
Cool.
are much lower in this game. Like in that game, if you didn't finish a dungeon or whatever, it would kind of fuck you.
Yeah, but if you did the thing that slowed down time, like you had a ton of time.
It's true.
Yeah.
In this game, it's just like you lose like 30. Like, oh, you forgot to get into space because you didn't put your suit on and went into space. So you lost something. So there's this computer here, and that's the thing I was talking about. That was like the book board.
Okay.
But I lost all of that shit.
I'm sorry.
My suit on. Let's go fly into the sun.
The same thing happened to me in Super Mario RPG.
No, really, it's
Eric and I.
it's not Eric. It's not Eric. It's us. It was our fault
Yeah, I blame you guys. Check out this planet. This is a planet that
because
I
he was
found.
trying to be considerate to us to not spoil something, even though he doesn't care
This
about
is a
it.
cool planet. what's
Now we
that?
should spoil the shit out of it.
Let me tell you all about
Except-
what's going on with the Ash Twin and the Ember Twin.
No,
Oh,
I
you
don't wanna know.
I'll tell you
bastard.
how to get through the currents of the second layer of Giant's Deep.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know
Let me
anything.
tell you the
I don't
secret
even
of
know what that
the
means yet.
giant ancient
But I don't wanna know it.
anglerfish.
Ugh.
How about you want me to just land on the moon?
Hey, how about
Go to
Alright,
the
Eric,
sun.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll
land on the moon.
Fucking
Okay.
kill yourself already. God.
Eric, here's what we'll
There's
do.
the Brittle Hollow.
Here's what we'll
I'm
do.
not going to tell you anything
Okay.
about that, but it's real
You start driving to my house,
cool.
and I'll start playing this game, and we'll be about where you were
Oh man.
by the time you get here.
You get there, yeah. Huh.
It takes more than like 12 hours to get to your house, I think.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
won't
but
be able
I'm
to play for
worse at-
continuous 12
Fair
hours.
enough.
And also, I'm worse at games than you are.
There's the
Also, not
interloper.
if you
I can
book
tell you
it.
guys. I can tell you guys all about the interloper. I did everything on the interloper, and now I have none of that. It's all gone forever. Dark Bramble. I found a bunch of cool things in there. You have like this cool. It's like a listening device. And so you can use it to, like, so there's been
Listen.
4 other astronauts, and they all have instruments, so you can use this to
I mean,
find
there's
them.
been others, but those are the ones that are out there.
Right, there's only been 4 from your planet. But there was, like, an ancient alien species that
Well,
was out
yeah,
here.
that's true. Yeah.
So there's, like, the banjo and the drums. You get all that information from talking to people on the...
Yeah, you get that in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah. And you can do this right
Talk to
from the
everybody.
planet, so this isn't spoilers.
Yeah.
but- Oh, man. Look at these planets. Look at these planets. Look at that thing. What is that? That could be anything.
Could be a planet.
I mean, it's a planet, but what's going on there? It's fucking crazy, right?
Stuff.
Stuff and
Look at
things.
there's some weird thing flying around the sun. I don't know what that is. I do know what that is, but I'm not gonna tell you guys.
So can you like use planetary bodies like gravitational fields to slingshot around them and
Not really. Like this is
go
like
faster?
You don't have that much control.
this is like if Kerbal Space Program is fudging the numbers a lot, like to like I don't know, like 10 times, this is fudging the numbers to like hundreds of thousands of times. They make it
Okay.
super easy to just fly around and get this stuff. It can kind of be tricky to land sometimes, but
Yeah.
look at these 2
Yeah.
planets. One's gray and one's all red, but there's like a thing between them. I don't know what that is. That's pretty crazy.
I bet you do know what
I
that
do know
thing
what
is.
that is. I can tell you all about it.
That's the dumbbell planet. You see,
They're the,
it's
it's
full of
actually
dudes
the,
who just work out all
It's
day.
actually the hourglass planet. in
It's
case-
full of dudes that skip leg day.
in case that lets you know anything about it. I also figured out a way
on that
to,
planet. The only thing to watch is Days of Our Lives, just continuously.
Mm,
All right, Eric, I think you should play something else before you give in to temptation.
What's that?
No, I think you should just start spoiling things for
Fly
Anthony.
into
That's
the
what I
sun.
think.
You just don't want me here.
I would never
Land on that thing that's orbiting the sun.
I'll try.
land on that thing that is.
Land on the sun.
Land on the sun.
So I've tried and failed.
I mean, you
Apparently
can,
There's an
yeah.
achievement for landing on that thing that's going really fast.
Is
around
there?
The sun. Yeah, there's an achievement for it.
Oh, on the thing that's going
yeah,
around.
not
okay.
on the planet, but
Yeah.
on that thing that's
The
like,
thing
actually
that
on
he's gonna
the
land
sun.
on.
Yeah, I
Oh,
definitely.
you didn't even try. Oh,
I
my
tried, but once you get close enough to the sun, it has gravity and it kind of.
It has a lot of gravity. Yep.
You just said
Yeah,
they fudged the numbers a lot.
They do, but it takes a
I
lot
tried
more
my
than just a
damnedest.
few.
even
Not to
fudging
fall
the
into the
numbers a
sun.
lot. I think the sun still has a lot of gravity.
Yep. I tried my damnedest not to fall into the sun,
Wait,
and
did I
got to
just-
watch the
Oh,
the
that's-
flames lick around the viewport as I fell into it.
I was gonna say you could have just stopped with that and.
Uh huh.
I tried to not land on the sun,
It's a
and
space job.
All right, I'm.
If you talk to the dude, he's like, "You need the codes." You're like, "I already have them." You're like, "What? How'd that happen?"
But yeah,
Alright.
once more people get, this is one of those games that you probably don't finish, but you just like get to a point where you're like, all right, I got what I needed out of it, and can stop playing.
Yep.
And when
Like,
people get to that point,
story,
I want to have
yeah.
a nice long conversation about stuff. Cause
Yep.
that's
Now
it
is
for
the time I
tonight.
am going. Thanks,
Aw.
thanks for
It's-
watching.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for hanging out and watching and all that stuff.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back next week with something different, I think.
Yay.
Probably. I
Maybe
can't
we'll
stop the
just-
stream, though, so Eric has to do it.
Go into space.
I'm in space.
Thank you.